Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is day 121 of the Bible Reading Challenge, of the 365 days of the Bible Reading Challenge. If you're watching on TikTok, if you're watching on YouTube, this should be episode 155. And today we are reading 2 Samuel chapter number 5, verse 1 to 10. And then we jump on to 1 Chronicles chapter number 11 and chapter number 12. It recaps us and tells us how David was anointed to be king over all Israelites now. And then it lists, or up to where we have read, it has listed for us the mighty men of David, or the men that David, or that stood with David up to when he became king over Israel. And we are continuing to read about the mighty men. So we are continuing in 1 Chronicles chapter number 12, and we will read another list of the people that were loyal to David. They were ready to die for David, and they were ready to do anything for David. So we continue. It's a very long chapter, so I don't want to take more time. It has about 40 verses, and so we need to read a little bit faster. So verse number 1 says, "Now these are they that came to David to Ziklag, while he yet kept himself close because of Saul the son of Kish, and they were among the mighty men, helpers of the war. They were armed with bows and could use both the right hand and the left in hurling stones and shooting arrows out of a bow, even of Saul's brethren of Benjamin." Verse 3 says, "The chief was Ahiezer, then Joash, the sons of Shema, the Gibeathite, and Jeziel and Pelet, the sons of Azmaveth, and Beraka and Jehu the Antothite." Verse number 4 says, "And Ismaiah the Gibeonite, a mighty man among the 30 and over the 30, and Jeremiah the Jahaziel, and Johanan the Josabad the Gederathite." Verse number 5 says, "Aluzai and Jerimoth and Bealiah and Shemariah and Shephatiah the Haruphite." 6 says, "Elkanah and Jesiah and Azariel and Joezer and Jeshobeam the Korhite." Verse number 7 says, "And Joela and Zebadiah, the sons of Jeroham of Gedor. Verse number 8, "And of the Gadites, they separated themselves unto David and into the wilderness men, men of might and men of war, fit for the battle, that could handle shield and buckler, whose faces were like the faces of lions, and were as swift as the roars upon the mountain. Ezer the first, Obadiah the second, Eliab the third, Mishmanah the fourth, Jeremiah the fifth, Attai the sixth, Eliel the seventh, Johanan the eighth, Elzabad the ninth, Jeremiah the 10th, Macbanai the 11th. These were the sons of God, captains of the hosts. One of the least was over 100, and the greatest over 1,000. These are they that went over Jordan in the first month, when it had overflown all its banks, and they put to flight all them of the valleys, both toward the east and toward the west." Verse 16 says, "And there came of the children of Benjamin and Judah to the hold unto David, and David went out to meet them, and answered and said unto them, If ye be come peaceably unto me to help me, mine heart shall be knit unto you. But if ye be come to betray me to mine enemies, seeing there is no wrong in mine hand, the God of our fathers look thereon and rebuke it." Then the Spirit came upon Amasai, who was chief of the captains, and he said, "Thine thine are we, David, and on thy side, thou son of Jesse. Peace, peace be unto thee. And peace be to thine helpers, for thy God helpeth thee. Then David received them and made them captains of the band. And there fell some of Manasseh to David when he came with the Philistines against Saul to battle, but they helped them not, for the lords of the Philistines upon advisement sent him away, saying, he will fall to his master Saul, to the jeopardy of our heads. Verse 20 says, as he went to Ziklag, there fell to him of Manasseh Adnah and Jozabad and Jediael and Michael and Jozabad and Elihu and Zildai, captains of the thousands that were of Manasseh. And they helped David against the band of the rovers, for they were all mighty men of valor and were captains in their host. For at that time, day by day, there came to David to help him, until it was a great host, like the host of God. Wow. So every day people are joining David, even when he was still fighting against King Saul. Verse 23, the Bible says, and these are the numbers of the birds that were ready, armed to the war, and came to David to Hebron to turn the kingdom of Saul to him according to the word of the Lord. The children of Judah that bear shield and spear were 6,800, ready to the war. Verse 25, of the children of Simeon, mighty men of valor for the war, 7,100. Of the children of Levi, 4,600. And Jehoiada was the leader of the Aaronites, and with him were 3,700. And Zadok, a young man, mighty of valor, and of his father's house 22 captains. And of the children of Benjamin, the kindred of Saul. Let's repeat that again. Verse 29. And of the children of Benjamin, the kindred of Saul, 3,000, for hitherto the greatest part of them had kept the word of the house of Saul. So even from the tribe where Saul was coming from, King Saul was coming from, there came some people that joined David and became part of David's army, and they were 3,000. Okay, verse number that says, and of the children of Ephraim, 20,800 mighty men of valor, famous throughout the house of their fathers. And of the half tribe of Manasseh, 18,000, which were expressed by name to come and make David king. And of the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of times, to know what Israel ought to do, the heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their commandment. And of Zebulun, verse 33 says, of Zebulun, such as went forth to battle, expert in war with all instruments of war, 50,000, which could keep rank. They were not of double heart. Verse 34, and of Naphtali 1,000 captains, and with them with shield and spear 30 and 7,000. And of the Danites, expert in war, 20 and 8,600. And of Asher, such as went forth to battle, expert in war, 40,000. And of the other side of Jordan, of the Reubenites and the Gadites, and of the half tribe of Manasseh, with all manner of instruments of war for the battle, 120,000. All these men of war that could keep rank came with a perfect heart to Hebron to make David king over all Israel. And all the rest also of Israel were of one heart to make David king. Verse 39. And there they were with David 3 days, eating and drinking, for their brethren had prepared for them. Verse 40, which is the last verse of 1 Chronicles 12, and our last verse for today says, Moreover, they that were nigh them, even unto Issachar and Zebulun and Naphtali, brought bread on asses, and on camels, and on mules, and on oxen, and meat and meal, cakes of figs, and bunches of raisins, and wine and oil, and oxen and sheep abundantly, for there was joy in Israel. All what we have read today is how David was made king. One of the things that you need to note, very important, is about the sons of Issachar. It's a very, very profound verse that they understood times. They may not have been very good in battle, but they knew, they were like prophets. They knew what Israel needed to do at each and every particular time. They were very important, to give guidance, to give directions, and to say how Israel needed to move at every particular time. That is how we end our reading for today. Today we were reading 2 Samuel chapter number 5, verse 1 to 10, and then continuing over to 1 Chronicles chapter number 11 and 12. Join me tomorrow for day 122 or episode 156 of our Bible reading journey, and I know that God is going to bless us. Until tomorrow, may God bless you, may God keep you, may God lift you higher than I am. Shalom, and keep the faith.